Yo, what is going on, guys? Flashverse here, and welcome back to another video on The Flash Season 7. And for today's video, I will be going over the new synopsis which was released for The Flash Season 7, Episode 7, titled Growing Pains, and I'll be breaking it down. This synopsis does reveal some very interesting stuff about the character of Frost and the new villain who will be joining us this season. And after that, I will be going over some new episode titles which were released. These are for episodes 8 and 9 of this season. So as of now, we are 4 episodes into The Flash Season 7. And episode 4 is technically the original Season 7 storyline. That's when the original Season 7 storyline starts, because we know that the first 3 episodes of the season were to wrap up the Season 6 storyline, which was left on hold due to the whole shutdown and stuff like that. So episode 4 of Season 7 is technically the original Season 7 storyline. This is where the Season 7 storyline actually starts after the wrap up of the Mirror Master storyline. And a lot has happened as of now, but one of the key storylines which we'll be exploring from episodes now 5 to 11, because we've already finished 4, are obviously the forces, and we will be going in depth with these 4 different forces, which are obviously the Strength Force, the Still Force, the Sage Force, maybe the Speed Force, depending on if they want to save that with Godspeed or will they explore it for the first half of Season 7. I'm not entirely sure. But with these 4 forces, we will obviously be going in depth when more episodes come around, and we will be, having more of these forces being revealed. But although that storyline will be taking place, we do know that we will be having some character-driven story arcs, as well as new villains coming into fold to cause chaos across Central City. And thanks to the synopsis of Season 7, Episode 7, we do know that a new villain will be joining us, but also we will be having 2 main characters who will be having a storyline for this episode and possibly could be maintained throughout the season. Now, for this video, I will be using some set photos from Canada Graphs to better justify what is going on during the scene. So yeah, credit to Canada Graphs for these set photos, and as always, his blog page will be linked in the description down below. Trust me guys, it is worth to check out because he has a lot more set photos which I certainly wouldn't have added on this video, because for this video I'm only choosing photos which allows me to justify what I mean when a certain scene takes place. Also, he does talk about what took place on set as well, so he has tons of interesting stuff. I would really recommend checking out his blog page. But before I go over anything, however, you guys don't forget to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel so you are aware of more Arrowverse content coming your way. Okay, so I will firstly go over the synopsis for Season 7, Episode 7, and I will break that down. But after that, I will be going over the new episode titles for Episodes 8 and 9. So firstly, going over the synopsis for Episode 7, titled Growing Pains. When a mysterious ice-powered enemy frames Frost for a brutal crime, she must find a way to clear her name. Meanwhile, Barry and Iris have a surprise house guest, and Joe continues to deal with Kristen Kramer. So yeah, this is a very interesting synopsis, and you can tell from the synopsis that this episode will be mainly centered around Frost as a whole, but also we will be continuing on with that Joe West storyline, which was teased before the season started. But also we did get a hint to when this Joe West storyline would start from the episode 5 synopsis. And obviously I'll be going more in depth with the storyline in just a moment. So breaking down the first line of the synopsis. When a mysterious ice-powered enemy frames Frost for brutal crime, she must find a way to clear her name. So firstly, this mysterious ice-powered enemy is Chillblaine. We know that for a fact. Chillblaine will be having a recurring role for Season 7, so he isn't that one-off type villain. And we will be seeing him for quite a bit for the first half of the season, I believe. Now, Chillblaine is pretty much a knockoff Captain Cold. In that sense, he also carries a cold gun with himself, which he obviously uses to take down his enemies and continue with his plans. But it will be very interesting to see why he frames Frost and what his reasoning to it is for. Now, obviously, Frost and Chillblaine both have similar powers in a way that they both use something ice related, where Frost obviously has ice powers, but Chillblaine has a cold gun. So it is kind of understandable that CCPD would get confused by this, and they say that, okay, there's this person who's been dead from, like, ice powers, let's say. They would say, okay, Frost could be the reasoning behind this. Now, not just that, but in set photos, we do see Frost inside some sort of, like, cafe as she gets arrested. So to me, at least, it seems like she will be at the wrong place at the wrong time, which results into CCPD seeing Frost next to, like, multiple different dead bodies covered in ice, and they take Frost responsible for what happened during that crime scene. Or the more likelier option over here is that Chillblaine leads Frost into that area only to find a bunch of different dead bodies covered in ice. And then CCPD come along, and then they'll see Frost with those dead bodies covered in ice, and then they'll see, okay, Frost did this, and then they take her into custody and then do whatever they want to do with her. But it'll be very interesting to see how Frost will be able to clear her name with the help of Team Flash. Does Barry use his forensic skills to help Frost clear her name? Or does Team Flash find some sort of evidence which shows that Chillblaine was responsible for this? I'm very interested to see how this plays out. Now, from recent events of last episode, obviously, we do know that Frost and Caitlin are now separate entities, so they're no longer in the same body. So this storyline should be something very, very interesting to explore. But the next portion of the synopsis goes, meanwhile, Barry and Iris have a surprise house guest. Now, just to keep this part short and simple, I have absolutely no idea who this surprise house guest is, but since the synopsis says surprise house guest, I'm guessing that it's got to be a returning character. But lastly, from the synopsis to go over, Joe continues to deal with Kristen Kramer. So this is still the continuation of the Joe West storyline, which we have been teased before the season started, and also will be starting during episode 5, which is the coming episode, where we finally meet Kristen Kramer. But yeah, as I have said before, it will be very interesting to see why Kristen is after Joe. Is it that she doesn't like the way the CCPD handles metahumans or something like that, and that results her into bringing on this investigation or something like that? I don't know, but this does seem like, it will be a recurring storyline for Joe throughout the first half of the season for more than just a couple of episodes. It seems like, something really, really serious, and we'll be diving deeper into that. It will be very interesting to see if Kristen Kramer ends up being some sort of, like, an antagonist at the end of the day with this. That would be very, very cool and an interesting twist to see. But also, Kristen Kramer, I believe, is the reason why Frost got arrested in the first place. Because if Joe sees Frost in that crime scene, he would most probably let her go, because he would know that Frost wouldn't do something like this. She took a while to redeem herself, and she's finally part of Team Flash, so there's no way she would go back to killing. So Joe would know that Frost isn't the reasoning behind this. But Kristen Kramer, on the other hand, wouldn't know that. She would, believe the evidence, and she would believe her own eyes, in which she sees Frost with these multiple different dead bodies, and I think she would be the reason to why Frost gets arrested. But also the establishment of the metahuman task force as well, which we have seen also on set photos. But yeah, I cannot wait to see this conflict between Joe and Kristen Kramer. It will be a very interesting storyline to explore. Now, as I said during the start of this video, we do have 2 episode titles which have also dropped, which I will be breaking down. So episode 8 is titled People vs. Killer Frost, and episode 9 is titled Timeless. So firstly, breaking down the episode title for episode 8 of season 7, which is The People vs. Killer Frost. So this is definitely a two-parter storyline of Frost getting arrested and then being put on trial. So yeah, Frost should be going on to court during this episode, and we could have it so they bring up Frost's past crimes as well or something like that, and then that could add on to her prison sentence, if you will. But then it leads me to believe that Chilblain will still be the villain for episode 8 as well. And then during this episode, Team Flash will finally find and catch Chilblain, and then they will basically find him, get all the evidence they need to save Frost and then clear Frost's name like that, resulting into Frost being back into the real world and not being locked up in prison, and she would be away from CCPD custody. But episode 9 is a fairly interesting title, and this is titled Timeless. So over here, we will be seeing the return of Timeless Wells, aka the original timeline Wells. Now last we saw him, he did say that he wants to go back in time and relive his moments which he had with Tess Morgan over and over again. But I think something will happen which leads to Wells going back into present day. Now we do know that he was a little bit suspicious when Team Flash, were working on giving Barry his speed back, and we see Wells looking at something, most probably him looking at all these different lightning colors scattering across Central City, and he realizes that these forces are about to do something. Maybe we'll be exploring that during this episode. I'm not entirely sure, but it'll be very interesting to see what brings Harrison Wells into present day, and presumably staying permanently in present day as well. But yeah guys, thanks for watching. If you guys have enjoyed the video, please give a like and subscribe. Tell me in the comment section down below how you guys think Frost will be cleared from the charges which have been put on her, and also be sure to tell me how you guys think Wells returns for episode 9. I'm interested to see your thoughts towards all of this, and yeah, I will see you guys in my next video.